Sis, imagine waiting 72 days just for your period to come and then realizing you still didn't ovulate. That's where my client started. She had been told, just keep trying, like most of us. She had been on every supplement, every diet, every hormone hack that the internet could throw at her. But years after waiting, hoping, and starting over again every cycle, she was done. Her body wasn't broken, she was just exhausted. And she was stuck in that place that so many women with PCOS know too well, trying everything right, but your body keeps saying no. In this episode, I'm walking you through exactly how we turned it around. The same step by step plan that took her from a 72-day cycle to a consistent 31-day ovulation, and by month 4, a natural pregnancy. So if you've been watching everyone else's miracle, wondering when it'll finally be your turn, stay close, sis. Because by the end of this episode, you'll understand the exact shifts that help your body feel safe enough to say yes and how you can start doing the same. Let's jump into it. When she first came to me, she was done. Years of just keep trying, years of negative tests, years of being told just lose weight and relax, it'll happen. She had spent hundreds on ovulation strips that never turned positive, hundreds on supplements that promised hormone balance but didn't move the needle. And every time her period finally showed up 72 days later, it was like a reminder that time was slipping away. Her doctors had brushed it off, told her everything looked fine, and offered birth control as a reset. But she didn't want to reset. She wanted to restore. She wanted to know why her body felt like it was working against her. And beneath all of the lab numbers and symptom tracking, there was grief. The kind that sneaks up when another friend announces a pregnancy. The kind that hits when you scroll past baby photos and your stomach tightens before you can even stop it. She was happy for them. But deep down, she was tired of pretending like she wasn't hurting. She told me, Tiana, I feel broken. Like my body just doesn't know how to be a woman. And that's where we started. Not with another diet or supplement list, but with the women who had lost her hope. But because before I could help her to ovulate, I had to help her believe that her body could even do it again. Once we looked deeper, it was clear that her body wasn't the problem. The approach was. Here's a truth that most women with PCOS never get told. Bleeding doesn't mean that you've ovulated. You can have a period every few months and still never release an egg. And that's what happened to her. Her body was cycling but not completing the process. She had been tracking everything: LH strips, temps, cervical mucus, even syncing apps. But all those tools weren't made for women with PCOS. They were made for women with textbook cycles. Her ovulation window didn't fit neatly into a 14-day. And those apps kept lying to her, telling her that she'd ovulated when she hadn't. And her labs, they were normal. And that's the part that drives most women crazy. When your labs look fine, but your body's telling a different story. Because PCOS isn't just a lab issue, it's a safety issue. And her body wasn't ovulated because it didn't feel safe enough to. And that's what most people miss. When your body's been in survival mode, running on stress, caffeine, and guilt, it protects you by holding back ovulation. It's not punishment, it's protection. So every time she tries to push harder to force her body into balance, she was actually deepening the stress loop that was blocking her fertility. Once we identified that, everything changed. We stopped chasing ovulation and we started building safety. Here's where everything started to change, not because of a new supplement or protocol, but because of a new mindset. I told her, your body isn't broken, it's protecting you. And that hit her because for years she'd been operating like she was failing, like she just wasn't disciplined enough, clean enough, or calm enough to make her body work. But the truth is that her body wasn't fighting her, it was fighting for her. Once she understood that, she stopped asking what's wrong with me and started asking, what is my body trying to say? And that's the shift from blame to curiosity, from shame to strategy. We started decoding her real fertility cues, her sleep, her cravings, her stress patterns, her cervical mucus, the kind that actually shows up in PCOS bodies. She began seeing that every weird thing her body did was data, not failure. And once we stopped forcing her body to perform and started learning how to support it, her hormones started finally responding. No more guessing, no more obsessing over strips, no more crying over every app that told her that she'd miss a window. We moved her out of guessing mode and into strategy mode. And that's when her cycle started shortening, not because she did more, but because she finally stopped fighting herself. Now let's talk about what we actually did because this is where strategy meets science. We used my MapQuest ovulation framework, the same system I built after realizing my own body wasn't following normal fertility rules. It's like a GPS for your cycle. It helps you figure out exactly where you are, where you're heading, and what's blocking the road. Here's how it works. Step one, we rewire her stress hormones. I call this safety rewire. Before we even talked about ovulation, we had to make sure that her body was out of survival mode. That meant regulating her nervous system. Simple things like deep breathing before meals, evening wind down routines, and letting go of the go harder mindset that was wrecking our hormones. Number two, tracking real fertility signs, not app guesses. We focused on cervical mucus, basal temps, and stress patterns, the actual signals her body was giving us. We ditched the strips that were lying to her and started watching for clues that her body was actually whispering all along. We mapped her cycle like a GPS. We plotted every shift, energy, sleep, digestion, mood until her patterns became clear. Once we could see where she was getting stuck, we could guide her back towards real ovulation instead of chasing phantom peaks. And when it comes to her lifestyle, we didn't overhaul her life. We made small, powerful pivots, more protein at breakfast instead of skipping meals, a 10-minute walk instead of hit workouts that kept her cortisol spiking, bedtime boundaries instead of scrolling through baby announcements at midnight. By week 8, her cycle dropped from 72 days to 31 days. Her body was finally saying, okay, feel safe now. And from there, everything started lining up naturally. By month 4, she was pregnant. No IVF, no meds, no crazy diets at 4 a.m. workouts, just a body that finally felt safe enough to say yes. But here's the part that really matters. The real win wasn't the pregnancy. It was the moment she told me I finally trust my body again. Because that's what it's all about, right? Not just the two pink lines, but the peace that comes from when you finally realize that your body was never the enemy. It just needed safety, support, and someone to translate what it was trying to say. And I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine going from hopelessness to building your positive test in less than 4 months. Imagine waking up and actually believing your body's working with you and not against you. Imagine that moment when your cycle finally comes on time instead of frustration, you feel proud. That's exactly what happens when you stop guessing, stop blaming yourself, and finally start decoding your body the way it was meant to be understood. Now let's talk about you, sis, because while her story is exciting and inspiring, it's also a mirror. You can keep waiting, you can keep guessing, you can keep holding on to something magically shifts on its own. But every month you wait is another cycle gone, another egg missed, another milestone delayed. And I say that with love, not pressure, because I've lived that ache, the one that whispers, what if it never happens for me? But here's the truth, you don't have to keep living like this. Imagine what it would feel like to start the new year with predictable cycles, confirmed ovulation, and a body that you could actually trust. To know when your fertile window is coming, to feel confident instead of anxious, to see your body work with you for once. Picture opening up the new year with hope instead of heartbreak. Waking up in January not thinking, here we go again, but thinking, this is my year. That's the difference between waiting and working a real plan. You don't need perfect hormones to get pregnant. You need safety, support, and strategy. And that starts the moment you decide your body deserves better than guessing. So here's the truth I want you to take with you. Your body wasn't broken. She just needs the right map. And that's what I want for you too. A map that helps your body finally do what it was designed to do without all the guessing, guilt, or grief. If you're finally ready to stop wasting cycles and start working a plan that actually works for you, this is your moment. Apply to from PCOS to pregnancy today. You can comment baby ready on any one of my Instagram posts or click in the link in my show notes to book your complimentary consultation because you deserve to trust your body again. You deserve to wake up every morning knowing it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And sis, your success story could be next.